This week, it's your nightmare show. Your nightmare. Welcome, everybody. Wellness Week Live. Anthony, DJ Anthony, Magnus. How are you, Magnus?
I'm good. We were talking a little bit off air. I was over in Disneyland again with my wife. We went to an evening event and had a good time. So I need to catch up on sleep. And one thing that I did not mention, but this is something that I mentioned before. It's so funny how different especially when it comes to food and stuff like that, when we're deprived of sleep. I'm hungry all the time and I want to eat junk food. And that's usually not me. So I do it that once in a while, but I especially like sugary and salty and crunchy things today. I haven't fallen that deep into that hole, but it's always something to remember that actually think of why you are hungry. Is it hunger or is it something else? So in this case, it's actually more something else.
Right. And you went on a little excursion for fun. So you got to treat yourself, have some junk food, whatever. I didn't know that you were a Star Wars guy. I've been making fun of Star Wars people all day today. So I'm like, oh no, Magnus, you're into that.
No. I love it. I'm never offended by that stuff because it's super, super nerdy. So yesterday was a Star Wars event. They have 3 of them this year. So, but it was fun. But you should see the amount of lightsabers and people running around with them all over. It was cool to see all the lights and stuff like that. But it was a cool night with fireworks and special events and things like that. So
it's awesome.
We had a fun time.
Along the lines of Darth Vader. Would that be a nightmare? So the 3 topics we're going to cover today are: what is your nightmare or recurring nightmare that you have or our listeners and viewers have? And then the other thing was, what was it? My list right here. Failure equals success. How much are you willing to fail to get success? And then the top 5 foods that Magnus eats and Anthony eats to stay healthy. Okay, so the nightmare. So because last night, I usually don't have nightmares. I usually have cool dreams, like I'm swimming or flying or some hot models kissing me or something like that. But
that's really life for you, dude.
That's right, baby. Well, I don't want to, don't. Okay, so, but So, but last night I had a nightmare, which is very rare for me in my life. I can count on one hand how many nightmares I had in my life. But last night I had this nightmare that this vulture, this eagle, was killing somebody in front of me, eating their neck, and then these monsters were coming out of a television, but I was yelling at them I'm not scared of you. So that was my nightmare last night, and I was oh damn, I haven't had a nightmare in a while. So I don't read too much into it, but you could make the argument it's part of health, part of wellness. If you have too many nightmares, you can't sleep well, yada yada yada. Or is it speaking about something greater in our lives, reflecting something that we have a fear of? So what about you, Magnus? What's a nightmare?
I have a reoccurring one, which is it's actually quite funny when I wake up and step out about it. It's so I get basically some kind of I think it's usually a letter or something like that, or someone tells me, hey dude, you're still missing some credits at the university. You need to go back to college and finish these courses off. And real life connection to it. I had some courses that I started that I didn't need it. So I just when I actually graduated, I was they're done, but in my mind, there's something well, you should have taken this course. It doesn't count. So it's just a stress thing. It usually happens when I'm overly stressed. I have a lot of things on my mind, but it's reoccurring and it's the same thing. And I wake up and I'm but I have my degrees. I'm already done. I don't have to worry about that. So it when I wake up, it's always when your brain connect things how it is, and I'm okay, and then I'm happy about that.
I've had that before too, where I thought I wasn't going to graduate high school or college, or I have sometimes nightmares of I'm drowning or I'm running from something, those types of nightmares, but nothing. So I always find it interesting because I usually have, well, by the way, on that topic though, I mean, when you sleep, do you usually have dreams or no? Good or bad?
I have dreams like sometimes a lot like vivid dreams that I remember, but then you'd like wake up and then you forget, and when you like wake up again. So they're very like hazy. But I dream. I know that I basically dream like almost like nightly in some
Yeah.
way before.
Yeah, I always dream, and I know people who tell me that they never dream. I'm like, wow, that's kind of sad. I
Yeah.
mean, it's nice to, yeah, I don't know. I usually have good dreams, usually, or just benign dreams where it's like I'm just walking or something. But all right, so we got that out of the way. Hey viewers, I mean, type in there. What do you have? Do you have nightmares, fantasies, good dreams, bad dreams? What's a reoccurring nightmare? So,
Yeah, I have another one like falling sometimes.
oh
Like
yes,
that's also kind of scary. And then sometimes it's also when you're like halfway out the bed and like the falling feels like it's for hours, but we're talking about less than a second when your brain actually like you're okay. I'm okay. I did not fall out of bed, or I'm not falling or anything like that.
right. I've had that too, actually. Yeah, it's funny, and I hear a lot of stories about, I guess, and I don't do this stuff, but um, DMT, I guess, is a type of
Yeah,
hallucinogenic that people take, and they have these trips into like this weird universe. But I did some research on that, and actually, our brain does contain some DMT, and I think that's why we probably dream. But when
yeah,
you're taking the external DMT, you're probably turning it up to level 10,000 and going like off the deep end. But it
yeah.
is interesting because when I hear like Joe Rogan and other vlogcasters talk about DMT experiences, I'm like, that kind of sounds like a dream, and I kind of have those dreams, but not to their level because they're on mushrooms or whatever. But I'm like, interesting. Our brains, our bodies are just
Yeah.
a wonderment, really.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's also they also usually see a lot of like uh, pattern,
right.
like mathematical patterns and things like that. But that's also interesting because you see that in nature. I mean, like flowers, different structure, fruits. Like there's definitely math
Oh,
involved in nature in so many ways and forms. So I
yeah.
and I can see that also like sometimes that we could visualize it, and also like when we're in between that kind of dream state and awake, that a lot of things could happen in our brains too, which I think is like the DMT, like, but you dial it up a
Yeah.
thousand degrees.
Right. Now, off the subject, kind of off the subject. I don't want to go too far off, but talking about reality and these life after death experiences with DMT and stuff like that. So, do you think that there is some form of intelligent life somewhere out there in the universe other than Earth?
I mean, just from pure statistics, yes, but it also like what are we talking about? Like us with like not just one cell life forms
No, I'm
is
talking about some type of life. It doesn't have to be
if
human.
we're talking about, but there's a, you can't say a higher being or stuff like that, or
But
more,
no, just
or
any kind of
whatever.
life form, even if there's just bugs crawling on a planet somewhere out there.
Yeah,
Not
no,
not
yes, I think that there's more life out of it, even if we might be on extreme outlier, but you never know. We might be the extreme outlier on the other direction.
right, we might be the stupidest. Yeah, there could be
Yeah,
something that's
exactly.
higher, or right, or it's all relative, right? Or
Yeah,
right. So I believe, right, statistically speaking, I mean, there's got to be some form of life, whether it's a living bacteria or some kind of reptiles
yeah,
crawling or some humanoid type of thingy or something that is. We can't be the only game in town. It's just, and I think it's very nearsighted and narrow-minded to think, like that would be analogous to like our great ancestors thinking, well, life is only in Africa and Europe, can't be anywhere else. And then the voyagers go and they go into the quote unquote new world and they
yeah,
discover quote unquote, but they find other people, other places because humans thought that too.
yeah.
We all thought Africa was it, or we thought Europe was it, and then oh my God, there's life in Asia. And I think Earth and the universe is analogous to that, similar.
But looking at it like if we add another dimension to it, we have time too. It could have like we don't know what happened before us or in
Right,
the future somewhere else. So like looking at it from that perspective too, I mean the chance of something out there is way higher.
right.
Again, we know that planets, like, they pop in and they pop out of existence too, you know.
Right.
So if we have life form on another planet, I mean, that planet could have ceased to exist too. I mean, we know that it has happened on here too. Like, dinosaurs are mostly gone. Yeah, birds are kind of the remnants of dinosaurs and
Right.
whatnot. So yeah, no, I mean, like, the only thing, like, my biggest thought about this is, like, I'm like keeping my fingers crossed that we are not the most intelligent.
Yeah, right.
Or
Right.
like, yeah, I'm like this. I hope there's something like more advanced out there.
Yeah. Well, it's just interesting to think about, and ultimately, it doesn't pay my rent, so it doesn't matter to me. But it's fun to think about.
Yeah, no. I think like a lot of people, like, at least once in their life, they think of, is their life somewhere else.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, all right. So moving on, failure, success. I was thinking about this today, and I was thinking about, and again, when I say failure and success, I don't necessarily mean money, because in America, everything is money. You're not successful if you don't make money. Is a component, but it's not everything. You know that, but I'm talking to the viewers. Okay. So my thing was like, I mean, you and I might have spoken about this before, but I was like, I wonder. So like, what makes somebody successful? And I think one of the biggest metrics is how much failure can you absorb and go through? Because, Einstein famously said, 99 times I am wrong, the 100th time I am right. And so, Einstein is not even a smart person. It says he's a tenacious person. He didn't give up. He didn't take no. He kept on going. But we only saw the fruit of Einstein.
Yeah.
We didn't see the decades of failure. So I think, we only see Michael Jordan or LeBron James making the shot. But how many did they miss? How many failures have they had? They didn't win every game. But, we only see the glory. We only see the win. And people just think, oh, it's so easy. So I think for me, my litmus test, or the watermark, is how much failure can you take on? Because I always hear people say, I had a friend of mine, he said he wanted to be a doctor. And I said, oh, that's cool. He's like, yeah, it didn't happen for me. I'm like, oh, okay. A straight A student. He only applied to 2 medical schools. I had another friend of mine want to be a doctor. That person applied to medical schools all over the globe, maybe well over 150. Well, duh, that person became a doctor. So when people say they try, I always scratch my head. I'm like, well, what do they mean try? Like, like, try what? Like, what is trying? And so, yeah, for me, I think that's what failure means to success. I mean, what does it mean for you, like failure in the realm of success?
We have talked about this several times before, or scratched at it, but like, it comes down to this. I don't see failure as failing. I see it like a learning experience. So if you're somewhat kind of, I wouldn't call it smart. It's just basic. That you learn from your mistakes. And also, people that are usually smart, they learn from other people's mistakes. So they could actually put themselves in a situation, or take a situation or something that they read or listen to, and apply it into their own life. So they take basically other people's learning experiences into their life and learn from that too, and don't have to go through that sort of thing themselves. So they're not doing that thing. But I think like a lot of it's the same thing. Like, how are we able to, like, as humans, crawling, walking, things like that? How many times did we fail on that? Like, we're talking about thousands of times, right? Trying to stand up. But it comes down to, again, like, it's the same thing. When you get knocked over, stand up again, and like, maybe there's another path that you have to take. And then you're just going over. And that's a lot of, when it comes to a lot of science, it's funny because it is that. It's like, okay, change a little thing here. Okay, that didn't work. That didn't work. I don't know, like, all the years that I spent in when I tried to get my degrees in the lab, it's like I failed way more times than I succeeded. And I think that also, like, it taught me that, like, it's not like success is not just happening. It's like you said, repeat, do things over, fail, learn something new, so on and so on. So it's, and I think something that I mentioned, like, when I went to that conference, is that most successful people go through hardship at least once in their life.
Right. Yeah, for sure. By the
So
way,
I think that kind of also like puts people like they become more driven or things like that, and also a
right,
lot of people want to prove other people wrong by
right.
being right.
Yeah, and you mentioned it before. Actually, it's funny because you asked me you asked a question last week or 2 weeks ago, Anthony. How many times do you think the average podcaster does a podcast until they give up? And I said, I don't know, 10 or 15. You said 3. I was like, oh damn.
No, it's
So
7. I think it was 7, but it doesn't matter. 3 or
7,
7. I
right?
mean,
So they do 7 podcasts,
it's
then
yeah.
they
I
give
mean,
up.
like, and it is the same thing. How do you think that you're gonna become an expert by doing it 3 or 7 times? Like it's like when you look at it from that perspective. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm going out and I want to be a basketball player. I go out and I shoot like the ball 7 times, and now when I'm expert, now I should
Right.
be like have major
It has to be
success.
shot 70,000 times, right?
Yeah, at least.
Right. Well, but to your
Yeah,
point, right. So people give up, right, 7 times. I mean, and I'm not saying look at us, we're great, but we're already on our probably almost 100th show here. And but yeah, so anyways, but yeah, I think and I can tell people from my experience too, it's like I think people think, well, that person's successful because they're really good at something. Again, Einstein was not good at math. He kept on trying and eventually he got it. Even
yeah,
myself, it took me almost 10 years to get my 4-year degree. It might take you a half hour to read and comprehend. It takes me sometimes 2 hours. But people might say, oh, well, Anthony's got a college degree. It doesn't mean that I'm smart or anything. It just means that for me, I really had to grind that out and fail. I had to take a ton of prerequisites. I had to do the 12th grade over again as a prerequisite in college. It took me 10 years to do what other people could do in 4 years.
yeah,
But I'm just saying, it's like, yeah, I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to keep failing till fail forward, kind of, like
yeah,
just fail forward. And I think all of us have something like that in our lives. But I think sometimes we just forget that and we just kind of like give up.
yeah.
And sometimes you have to fold up, no doubt, know when to hold and know when to fold. But if it's something you really want, I mean, have you tried your best, folks? That's what I would say. And what does try your best mean? Were you the doctor that tried 150 times and applied, or the other person that wanted to be a doctor and failed? They only tried 2 schools to apply.
But sometimes it's not just that. It could be timing too,
All right.
or that a person that you have not like met before that you meet and you kind of connect and everything is cool, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I got this, I want you to be involved in, or here's a number to someone that I think would, and all of a sudden it says boom,
Yeah.
and you become successful. So like whatever you want to call it, luck or something like that. Yeah, definitely there's some type of like luck, because there's a lot of things that needs to align to be
Sure.
successful too.
Right. But if the person gives you the opportunity, but you're a lazy bum, it ain't gonna work. You got to have.
And that's just personality too. I mean, most successful people can see that and they wouldn't even ask you. But if they know that you're hardworking, if you have, even if you have failed, they're not worried. Most people are like, I rather have someone that has failed because they have more experience and they know what hardship is, and it's like they're not gonna fold.
Right.
Because they stood up and they continue going, even like it might not be in the same direction, but they did not say that, okay, my life is over, I'm not going to do anything more. No, they kept on going, and maybe they changed course, but it doesn't matter. It's that is just like not accepting failure as failure.
Right. It's funny. I know this girl, and she's probably in her mid-20s now, and she wants to be a news anchor on television. And she lived in the New York City area, and there's probably a billion women and men that want to be TV news anchors. But kudos to her, because like the other person that applied to 150 or 200 med schools, she said basically she's going to go anywhere on earth to fulfill her dream. So she left New Jersey and she found a spot to be a news anchor in North Dakota. Okay.
Yeah.
North Dakota is hell. Okay. It is, nobody lives there. Like you don't want to go there. The winters are, 50 below zero. And that's her life now. But see, now that's somebody that wants to be a news anchor versus people who say, yeah, I applied in Connecticut and New Jersey, New York. Yeah, I applied. No. She applied all over the world and the country, and she wound up in North Dakota. So and she'll move on
But
from
that
there.
shows that like that is also like for her that might actually open a door going back because now she has the experience. Now like she actually have a body of work. It's like, hey, this is what I do. Is there some way or form that I can help your company or broadcast like whatever, like newsroom. It's because she's actually gaining experience in the field that might be her dream place to be in.
100%. But everybody, especially in America, they talk a lot of crap and they say they want this, they want that. And I'm not talking about money necessarily, but I'm talking about just success in life, whether it be, oh, I wish I had good friends. Well, try being a good friend first and let people burn you. That's okay. Don't stop being a good friend. And eventually you'll get good friends. Whatever it is, you want to be, I don't know.
No, I like that. That's a smart thing. I mean, that really, really shows you. It's like you and again, like don't listen to everybody. If I would have listened to and they were talking to my close friends and family and things like that, I would not have achieved the things that I have achieved today, even if I don't see that it's much anyway. But like when other people might not see that I have done anything, but that doesn't really matter. But I did prove for me that I was able to do certain things.
Right.
And I didn't really care if no one else believed in me because I'm like, I believe in myself.
Right.
And I just want this,
Right. And by the way, when you say people didn't believe in you, you know what? People who don't believe in others, they usually don't believe in themselves. That's why they don't believe in others. It's a reflection of their own insecurities, their own failures. And so they got to shit on other people. When you tell somebody, and I'm not talking about blowing smoke up someone's ass. Like, listen, if you have no arms and legs, you were born with no arms and legs, you can't tell some kid, oh yeah, you could be in the NBA. That's bullshit. But, but if it's something like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you normal, whatever it is, like that kid with no arms and legs can do something in life and say, hey, I believe in you. Maybe you can be whatever, a great orator or maybe a great writer using using voice to text. Like it's not, you can, people who shit on others, they're usually the losers because they haven't achieved shit. So, and again, I'm not talking about money, but anyways, so.
But that's interesting because we were talking a little bit off air, like what sport brings when we're not talking about like actually performing the sports, but so many things too. But that's something that I felt with, you have a tight-knit group of players if you play in a team sport that you actually believe in one another that we are going to win. And like we might not be the most talented like team or individuals out there, but together we were able to achieve and win games that we shouldn't have won because we believed in each other. And I think that's another thing that you can learn from sports is like actually believe in it, like how a group can believe in it, that they're so good, even if they're not good, but they know that we are going to win no matter what.
Right. You listen, look all over the world. I mean, usually the most successful people, they're not the smartest, they're not the strongest, they're not the best looking. Look, Tom Brady wasn't drafted in the first round of the NFL. He was a scrub. Nobody even looked at this dude, okay? We can go on and on and on and on and on. You can go as far back as the Bible. David and Goliath. David whipped Goliath's ass, okay? On and on and on and on and on. I mean, so many sports analogies, business analogies. Look at right now. Unfortunately, there's a war going on in Ukraine and Russia. Everybody, including all the American experts, said, "Oh yeah, Ukraine will be routed in 2 or 3 days." Well, yeah, ain't working out like that. Why?
Right.
It's not always the strongest, the smartest, the best looking. It's about the tenacity, the drive, the will to fail forward. This is what I wanted to ask. But okay, so anything else you wanted to add before we go on to 5 top foods?
No, I mean it's again same. Like I always bring this up because I always I want people to try to see things from a positive angle. It's not failure; it's an experience. Like you learn something from it. It's a learning experience. So believe in that and believe in yourself, and you will go far.
100%. Okay, so top 5 foods. You say one, I say one, you say one, I say one. That we like, that we eat, that keep the Ferrari running at premium level.
So I'm starting with one of my basics, and it's lean meats, like straight up lean meats, and it doesn't have to be like whatever.
Chicken, pork, turkey.
Yeah, and it could be like wild game, whatnot, but that.
Okay. My first one, that's funny because although I do eat a lot of lean meats, chicken and, well, chicken particularly. And well, this is not meat, but salmon. But funny you mentioned that because I don't have any meats on my list. Okay. But so my number one one of my things is apples. I eat an apple a day, basically, keep the
Yeah.
doctor away, because it has great phytonutrients, micronutrients. And I want to stress too, it's like, this, Magnus, but I always tell people eat an actual apple. Don't eat an apple chip or drink apple juice. That's garbage. Eat the apple. It has a thing called fiber. Supplements are good. I take supplements too, but nothing beats the real thing. Fiber, micronutrients. It's alive. It's an apple. A pill's a pill, and that's nothing against pills, but an apple's an apple. Okay, so go ahead. Your next one.
Next one would be berries for me.
Oh, damn, man. You stole my thunder.
Yeah. No, I didn't. We're not stealing anything. We just have the same thing. No, but it comes down to this. Like, berries pack so much nutrients, antioxidants, and all those good things. And so, I basically eat some type of berries like daily. I like raspberries are my favorite. Blueberries, strawberries. Yeah, I mean, lingonberries, a thing in Sweden, like the tart kind of berry that is good. Berries are like, as a superfood, I love it.
Yeah, I eat a lot of blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and why you want to eat that, folks, is because, again, it helps prevent cancer. It's nature's way of, not every single cancer. I get it. You can't prevent everything. I understand that, but if you want to up your chances of keeping away certain cancers and heart disease, again, you want to increase the eat berries. And by the way, a lot of people may say, "Oh, it's got a lot of sugar." Well, it's got a lot of fiber too. So what?
And it's good sugar. Those are good sugars, to be honest, too. And like for being a fruit, it's not like they're sweet, but they do not contain that much carbohydrates. So,
right, 100%. Okay. So my other thing was well, basically I said berries. So you did too. Okay. So what's your next one?
My next one. Let me see. That would be leafy greens. So like I would do probably spinach is one of my favorites when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Another thing that I eat daily has a lot of nutrients, a lot of cool, healthy chemicals and things like that in it that we need. So it protects us from a lot of diseases and things like that. It helps our immune system, like you said, working against a lot of different cancer types, not all, but yeah.
Sure. I've been doing that too. I just made a point to myself that at least 4 times a week I must eat salad, and not romaine salad, but spinach, kale, those types of dark green reds. That's so important to help fight cancers and keep your immune system running. It makes you happier, healthier, stronger. You got to get those.
Different sprouts are also cool too, if you want to add that in. But there's a little bit of difference.
And folks, you don't got to eat it raw like a friggin' rabbit. You put a little dressing, balsamic vinegar. Not a lot of calories. I put some chicken in there. I put some raisins in there. You mix it up. It really tastes good. Okay. My kind of like what you're saying, broccoli. I think broccoli is Broccoli is a super food. I put it in my shakes. I bake it. I put it in my soups. I eat broccoli, 3 times a week minimum, along with other vegetables. But broccoli is a good cancer buster. Great for our heart, arteries, veins, all that stuff. Okay, so what's your next one?
That was broccoli. So we're in the same thing. No, but like broccoli, I mean, I think I almost eat it daily. It's just something that it's easy. I steam cook it a lot. So steam cook it, boom, gets done quickly, eat it, and I'm happy, filling. Just good. I mean, it's straight up. And like you said, you can do so many things with it.
Yeah.
That I actually enjoy eating. So
yeah. And it's all how you cook it. Because a lot of people, because my mother used to cook it like it tasted horrible. It was just like boiled, no taste, no nothing. So now I'll bake it, put some salt and pepper on there. It's crunchy like a popcorn almost.
You can add some. You can add a little bit of lemon juice and stuff like that, lime juice on it, and like there's a lot of fun ways. And one thing I think. Rhonda Patrick mentioned this, that there's I don't remember which one it is, but there's when you put like a ground mustard seeds on top of it, it actually helps you absorb more of certain nutrients in broccoli too. So I always like dash a little bit of ground mustard seeds on it.
Yep. They say that right, certain spices help to bring out like pepper and turmeric together, boost the
Yeah,
turmeric content. Yeah. So, but right, I mean, yeah, try to get it in many different ways. All right. So my
yeah,
other one was cauliflower.
yeah.
Same thing
That,
as
that for me those almost goes together. They're like I say basically that cauliflower is like the blonde version of broccoli.
yeah. Yeah, cauliflower is again a great cancer
Yeah,
buster, a great immune supporter and booster, great for your
yeah,
skin, your hair, your nails, your heart, your arteries, your vein. Cauliflower, if you can, several times a week, get it
yeah.
in there. What's your other one?
So here's it's like so when I said lean meat, so let's say that we have fish and different seafoods in that too. Otherwise, I would have mentioned fish because fish is important. But if we say that I already kind of baked that into meats, then I would say seeds, different types of seeds.
Yes, seeds. It's funny. I have chia seeds, flax seeds every single morning. Chia seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds,
Yeah,
flax seeds. And I don't. So for people who don't know, it's very fine. So you can just put it in a shake or put it on your cereal, put it on your salad, put it on your meat, put it on whatever. But anyways, yeah, very very good. High in protein, great for the immune system. All right, my last one would
lot,
be
lot of good fats, got a good fats, and also it has a lot of fibers, and that's kind of what our most thing like fibers, fibers,
fiber,
fibers.
fiber, fiber, folks. You
Yeah,
need the fiber. Fiber is good for the heart, everything,
yeah,
the immune system, the poop shoot, the whole nine. Okay, pickles. Anything that has the probiotics, so anything that's pickled,
yeah.
kimchi, coleslaw, pickles. I eat a pickle a day like a vitamin. I just eat the pickle. Do I love pickles? Meh, I don't love them, but I'll eat them because I know that pickles are so powerful for our immune system.
Yeah.
Eat more of the pickled stuff, and your immune system, you're going to be healthier and healthier and healthier. Okay,
Yeah,
what's your last one?
I would say white rice. Since
Oh, damn. I don't know about that now. Go ahead.
yeah, so there's a good explanation why I say white rice. So white rice, since I like performance athlete, I still train a lot, so I need carbohydrates. Yes, most of the carbohydrates I'm trying to get from fruit and vegetables, but I can't eat those quantities of fruits and vegetables because I'm not getting enough carbohydrates. So that's why I'm taking white rice. White rice is good because it's easy digestible. You can basically, depending on where you get it, you can get it fairly clean. There's not like you have to watch out a little bit for like arsenic and things like
Yeah,
that.
you wash
But
it before you.
yeah, but anyway, it's a qualitative source of carbohydrates for someone that needs more carbohydrates in their life. So that's
Right.
why I'm saying white rice, and I say that over brown rice because brown rice contains usually a lot of chemicals that we could have issues with in our digestive system. So when people say, "Oh, brown rice is 100 times better than white rice," I would actually say no to that. It like again, it depends, but like nutrient values, they're fairly similar. They don't change much. Yeah, you have a little bit more fibers, but it's not like a whooping wow
Right,
of a
right,
big
right. Not
difference.
night and day.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's
Yeah,
what that's and most people do good with white rice too, like when it comes to digestion, unless like people are overeating it, of course. Then
right.
that's the thing that you have to measure. You have to kind of have an idea of how much you should eat.
Yeah, if you're basically an athlete like Magnus is, or even myself, like you're out every single day doing it, 2 hours of exercise or whatever. Yeah, I do think pasta, some bread, some rice could be good. But in
Yeah,
America, most Americans they're not doing that. They're sitting playing video games and binge watching on Netflix, and they're packing down a half a loaf of bread and bagels and pizza and chips and
yeah.
cookies and cake and all. That's bad, and you really shouldn't do it in general. But yeah, but a little bit of bread, right? A little bit of rice for someone who's very very active could be very good.
And again, rice is better, like because it doesn't contain gluten, and like I said, most people can digest it without a problem.
Right.
And so that's why I think like white rice is a really really good like carbohydrate source. And when you need it, when you need that extra energy and punch.
Yeah, and by the way, for people who are kind of like, oh my god, I'm not gonna cook. They make minute rice in the microwavable little cups. You put it in there, 60 seconds, boom, and you have rice instantaneously. So sometimes I buy that, and because I do like rice also. But yeah. So carbs, we all need carbs, that we always say, but you want to try to like I said, if you're very active like Magnus, then yeah, fine, have rice or even pasta if you can, you tolerate the gluten. But all right, cool. Anything else, Magnus? You want
What
to
was
add?
your last one?
Oh my last one was the pickles.
Okay. Then I probably had 6, but it doesn't matter. You guys got a good list because we had some like it's funny. It like Anthony, it's so funny when we're talking because I'm like I say like Anthony's probably gonna have the same freaking food that I am because we always say the same thing. We kind of know what is like we're considered healthy. But the thing is like these foods are not like it's not just for health. I enjoy eating them. I eat a lot of them, and it's just something that my palate had gotten used to.
Right.
So I'll eat it over and over, and it's like it's fine.
Yeah, and it's all how you cook it too. Like I said, you can make it really yummy. And I gotta laugh because I talk to some people who have like shitty eating habits. They're like, oh man, I can't live like that. That's kind of like you don't get it. You're gonna be happier, healthier, stronger. Don't you want that, or do you want to be weaker and sicker? Keep on eating the crap food, the refined carbs over and over again, and the junk food and the sweet drinks and the soda and the beer and that's all going to kill you. So, life is eating the broccoli and the cauliflower daily and the nuts and the seeds and, whatever, the lean meats. But I think people think that that's some kind of punishment. It's the absolute, not only is it not a punishment, but you're going to be healthier and happier and stronger. Don't you want that? So, anyways, but yeah. And so that's it. You know what I just made? Do you eat oatmeal?
And almost every morning, like usually every weekday, I eat like sometimes I do overnight oats, but I usually do oatmeal with flax seeds, a little bit of salt, and then I throw some berries, of course, that I mentioned before, and cinnamon on top of that because cinnamon is a superfood too. So
right. That's what, yeah. So every week I make my own batch of energy bars, and they're based on oatmeal. So I have oatmeal, walnuts, chia seeds. I use egg whites, not the whole egg, to bake them, and then instead of using butter, I use avocado oil. And so if you eat my oatmeal bars, they're medicine that tastes amazing. I put raisins in there, a little cinnamon, a little bit of sugar, not a lot, but yeah, I make a whole pan of it, and that's my snack all throughout the week. I'm just like popping these things, and it's great because
it's awesome. I think that's a great way of doing it because you know exactly all the ingredients that goes in. You have a better understanding, and it's like it's good stuff. It's fresh. It's baked. Like you said, you eat it in a week, and you redo it, so it doesn't go stale or bad or that sits on a shelf for 6 months or 12 months.
Yeah. For sure, dude. All right, man. So that wraps it up, folks. Tell us what you think about United
thing,
food.
We remember the sign. Bring it up.
That's right, baby. Huh? Come on,
subscribe.
Do it.
And again, we want to hear. So this time we want to hear about your nightmares or dreams, whatever. And also, what are your the best foods that you like to eat? Like it doesn't we don't care if you can say it's M&M and Snickers. I don't care.
I eat that
just
too.
Say what you guys enjoy eating.
Yeah, awesome. All right, folks. So check back in. We got a bunch of great shows coming up as always. Magnus, thank you. Enjoy the 80-degree weather in Cali. New Jersey is climbing up there. We're getting into the 70s. So anyways,
it's nice spring weather.
Oh man, I tell you, it was a crappy winter, but I'm glad it's all over. But all right, folks, over.